So when you open any web page, right, you see a lot of web elements on a web page. Yeah. So those elements could be your text box, a button, a link, a label, right? So these are all web. There is another link here I can see. Right? So these are all web elements. This is also link. This is a search box. This is some number. So these are labels, right? So there are a lot of web objects which you see when you open any web page. Right? So at the footer also you see a lot of links. Yeah. So we have a several web objects or web elements on a web page, right? So those web objects could be your edit box. It could be a text box. It could be a link. It could be a button. It could be your drop down, right? So wherein you see a lot of values in a drop down and you select one. It could be your list box. Herein you see a lot of elements in a list and you select a couple of items from there. Your combo box, right? Now checkbox. You have the checkboxes also, radio buttons, right? So you can select either of the radio button, right? And checkboxes you can select multiple values. Then you have images on a web page. You can have a web table also. Then you can have frames, right? So these are all actually a web objects which you will find usually on a web page whenever you will be opening a web page, right? So what is our end goal is we have to perform some actions on these web objects, right? So in edit box, what we can do, we can just send the values. Edit box is nothing but your input box, right? So this is my input box, and in this input box, what I can do, what action I can perform, I will have to send the value, right, using my Selenium script. And this is a button. So this button, what action I can perform on this button, I can click on this button, right? Or I can perform submit. Likewise, here also I am having a email address wherein I can give the send the values. And in case of password also, this is also a input box. So here also I can just send the values. This is a link. I can click on this link, right? So these are the action methods or action items which is actually associated with your web object. This is also link. I can click on this link, right? These are also links. I can click on these links, right? And likewise, I am having other web objects could be your after frames you have alert, right? So you get a lot of alerts also wherein you see some alerts which are coming here on your web application, and that either you have to dismiss that alert or you have to accept that alert or something like that. So some operations you can perform on alert. There could be scenarios wherein you find multiple windows are getting open, right? So multiple windows can also open, right? So when you click, you would have seen something like when you click on one link, right, it is opening a new tab. Okay, here it is not doing that, but it might open a new tab. Or maybe you can just open the link in new tab, right? So it will open in a new tab, right? So I am having now two windows. The first window is parent window and second window is child window, right? So I will have to switch my driver from parent window to child window to do some actions here, right? So likewise, I am having multiple windows. I am having frames to switch from one frame to other frame, then alert class, and there is one more class which we call as action class, right? So if I need to move from one coordinate of a web page to another coordinate of a web page, let's say I want to move from this sign in to search, right? So for that I will have to use action classes, right? So to double click or to right click or to context click, etc., we will do using action classes. Okay, so these are all web objects, my web objects, right? We will see what all actions we can perform in each object. Yeah. So what we will do now, how we will inspect these web objects on a web page. Right? So for that, if I am doing it on Chrome, what I will do, I'll just right click on a web page and then I will just click on inspect. Inspect will open a DOM here, which we call as document object model. Okay, now the recording is on, right? So I can see the code, the HTML code here for that respective page. Now, if I am looking to inspect this element, I will click here and then I'll mouse over on this email address. So this code, right, which is starting from input tag, you can see this is an input field. So that is why I can see the input here. And then these are all your properties. Type is a property, class is a property, data validate is a property, ID is a property, name is a property, value, then value, right? And for these all properties, I am having some values also. So for type attribute or type property, I am having a text value. For class attribute or class property, I am having this value is required validate account input form field. For this property, I am having is email value. And for ID, I am having email create value. For name, I am having email create value. Okay. So using these properties, we will locate the items, right? So you can consider this as like object is like a man, right? And a person, right? And what property person has? Person has name, person has email address, person has some age, some gender, right? And using any of the property, you can call that person, right? So if I if you want to call me, you will say Nitin, right? So Nitin, if you say Nitin, then definitely I will respond. So likewise here also I am having name, right? So this web object is also having name. Name is email create. Your ID, right? ID is also email create. So using this, you can just locate these elements on a web page. Similarly for button, right? Button, this is a create an account button. You can see this is button, right? It's starting from button tag. This is having class, this is having type, this is having ID, having name, right? So likewise, all the objects having some properties and some values, and using those properties only, we identify those elements on a web page, right? And now this, let's say this is a link, forget password, and all links in a web page starts with anchor tag A, right? And it is having a href property. So when you click on this link, it will navigate to this page. Href is a attribute name and the value of this is this. Then title is recover your forgotten password, right? Getting it right, guys? And this is also link. So link here also, this is anchor tag, href property, then title is specials. We will see how to locate these items and then how to click on these items. Do we have any? So this is search box. So if you go here and click, this is again an input box wherein you will have to pass some value and then you have to click on this search button. This would be my button, right? This is a button. Type submit name, submit search. Making sense?
Yes.
Any confusion here? Disha, Sitara, Naresh?
No.
What all web objects we have on a web page, right? And how we can play with those web objects, right? So we have some properties in a DOM structure, and using those properties and those values, we can locate those elements on a web page. Yeah, so that was on this. Now we will talk about what all actions we can perform on a particular element, right? So before that, I will just show you how actually we can pass the values from your Selenium script, right? So let me go to your basic script. Okay, so this is what we had initially to launch your Google, right? Now what I will do, I will try to send some keys to my username field here. So we will see how we are locating those items and then how the values are passed here. So, so for this, I will have to take the URL from here and using driver.get command, I will navigate to that URL. That is the first step to navigate to that URL. And before that, you will be setting the system property, right? Wherein you will pass your driver path, etc. Then you will be instantiating your driver. And these two actually steps are not mandatory. If you want to maximize your window, you can just write like driver.manage.windows that maximize. And this is for basically for timeouts, right? So that we will see after some time. Now to navigate to the window, we will use driver.get command. And with the help of this command, my browser will navigate to this. Now my next step is to fill some values here, right? My next step is to give some values in the email address field or in a password field and then click on sign in button. So for that, I will click on this inspect and I will inspect email address. I can see some ID here. ID as in ID is unique, right? So we have unique IDs for each element. So ID is most preferred locator in your Selenium testing. If you have ID, use it. Otherwise, we will use other locators also. So here I will use ID. Now to locate this element, what I will do, I will write driver.find element by.id, and in ID I will pass my value and then dot send keys. So in send keys, let's say I'm typing abc@gmail.com. Okay. If I need to pass something to password field, what I will do, driver.find element by.id. Again, we will check if we have ID there in the password field. So let me mouse over to password. So in password also I'm having this ID password. Okay. So by.id and then dot send keys. So here also I will have to pass some string, right? So let's say I'm passing password only. And then I am clicking on this link. So for clicking on this sign in button. So sign in is button, right? And here I am having ID submit login. So by dot ID, then submit button and then dot click. Okay, let's try this. What is happening? You will see how it is actually working. And I'll put some thread dot slip after every step so that we can just see the Yeah. So this is the code. Code is ready. Right now, let's try to launch this. Run as Java application. What happened? Let me try rerunning. See, the email address is filled, and then password is filled, and then it clicked on the sign in button, and then you get there is a one error. Let me increase the weight instead of 10 seconds. Getting it right? So first it entered email address, then it entered password, and then when it clicked on sign in button, it gave this error. There is a one error, authentication failed. Yeah. Is it understandable, guys?
Yes, understood.
Okay. So here, driver is your instance, right? In this case, we are navigating to this URL using get command. When I come here, this is your instance. Find element is a method, right? We have seen in the search context interface. By.id, by is a class. Okay, so by is a class in Selenium, and then ID is your locator. Email is your property of that locator, and then dot send keys is a method, right? Using this, you can send the values. Use this method to simulate typing into the element, which may set its value. Yeah. Likewise, here also we have used same thing. Here I am using dot click. Dot click is a method which will click this element. Right. Now we will move on to the various methods which element is having. Okay, now first we will talk about browser. So this you will try, right? After the class, please try this. I'll just share this URL with you. So probably you can try locating the elements on a web page and then try sending the values. Would that work for everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what all actions we can perform on browser? Actions on browser, right? So first is you can launch browser. Second is you can navigate to a specific URL. You can return browser title. Then you can return browser URL. Then you can return a page source, browser page source. Source 6 is you can return a window handle. We will see what is window handle. Browser window handle. Then you can return, you can close as in focused browser. Then you can close all browsers. Those are opened by driver. So these all actions we can perform on browser. Now other items from on the navigations part, you can navigate from one URL to another URL. You can navigate back. You can navigate forward. Navigate, refresh. Refresh. Then you can minimize the browser window. We have seen maximize, right? We can minimize or maximize anything. Minimize or maximize. Okay, then what else? You can run your browser in full screen. Browser in full screen. You can copy the browser URL. Then you can select home, etc. So these are the actions I can perform on my browsers. Yeah, we will see one by one each of them using our script. Right, so we have some commands available in Selenium. Using that, we can do that. Now your next element is your basically page. So actions on page. Right, so what action we can perform on page? We can get page title. We can get page URL. Page source. Get page source. Okay. Next element is your edit box. Edit box or text box or input box. Input box. Here you can check the display status of edit box. Then your enabled status. Then you're entering a value, returning a value. And if something is there on that text box, we can read that value, return a value, or using get text. We can clear the value. If any value is there, we can clear the value. Then return element type. We can get the type of element, what it is actually type of element. Any confusion here in any of these commands?
No, Nitin.
Okay. Disha, Satara.
Understood, Nitin.
Okay. Now, next is your link. Link is basically, we can have two types of link. First is your text link, right? And second could be your image link, right? So, in this web page, we can see, right? So this is my image link. If I mouse over this, it will start from img image. Can you see it here, image?
Yes.
Yeah. So when I mouse over on this, it will show the image. This is also a link. You can click on this link. And these are your text links. See the anchor tag here. Anchor tag with href value. Okay, so there could be two types of link on a web page. One could be image link and other could be text link. Okay. And then another type of link as per functionality could be internal and external link. Internal link and then external link. So what does it mean by internal link? It actually redirects from one location to another location of same web page. Or another web page of same application. Okay, so you would have seen that if you click on some link, it will move from one location to another location of that page, right? Or there could be instances wherein when you click on the link, it will move from one web page to another web page of same application. So those are called internal links. If when you click on the link and it redirects from one application to another application, those are called external links. From one application to another application. Okay. There could be broken links also, right? So broken links are as in like they do not redirect anywhere, as in like they will throw you an error like page not found, 404 page not found, etc. Right? So those are called broken links. Yeah. So when you click on those links, you will get an error page. When you click on those links, you get error page. So those are called broken links. They are not complete link. Yeah. Now what actions you can perform on these links? You can click on these links. Right? So I can click on the link, right? I can check whether the link actually exists or not. Check the existence of the link. I can check whether the link is enabled or not. Link is enabled to perform some actions or not. I can copy the link name, etc. Yeah. Now the next web object is your image. So we are covering important objects here. Image. First we covered about browser, right? What all actions we can perform on browser. Then we talked about page, what all we can get on a page. Then we talked about edit box, text box, and input box. Then about link, right? So we have two types of link. One is text link and other one is image link. Text link actually have anchor tag. Image link will have image img tag. Now we have two types of link. One is internal link, second one is external link. Internal link will redirect you from one location to another location of a same web page or another web page of same application. External link will redirect you from one application to another application itself. And you can have broken links also. So in interview, they do ask, how do you handle broken links? So let's say your web page having hundreds of links, right? And you need to identify those broken links. How will you identify that? So we will see that while we will do doing the programming, right? We will see that how to print those links and then how to identify those broken links. Now, what all actions you can perform? You can click on link, you can check existence, enabled status, etc. Right? And in images also, same as link, right? Images also you can check the existence of image. Then your written image title. Then your enabled status. Then copy image name, etc. Yeah. Now sometimes what happen, you get image in the form of button also, right? So here we have image in the form of links, right? And sometimes there would be chances wherein you will get image in the form of button also. So if the image is in the form of button, then what action you can perform on that? Can you tell me what action you can perform on buttons?
Click.
Click, correct.
Enable to enable or not.
Enabled status, right? Disha, what action you can perform?
Yeah, click and enable status. I'm not sure about others.
Existence, can you check existence of that, whether that exists or not? Existence of image. Then you can get the button name. Return URL image button name. Yeah. Next is your checkbox. What you can do on checkbox? Tell me one by one.
If it is checked or not.
So that you are checking the.
If I mean, if we have all, it is already checked, marked checked, or it is unchecked.
So you are checking the status, right?
Yeah, checking the status.
Check the status. Selected status, right? Whether it is checked or not checked. What else?
Click also, because we once
Yeah,
we click,
click,
it should be
right.
checked.
Click as in select, right? In case of checkbox, we call it as select. Yeah. What else? Unselect also, right? If it is select, you can unselect also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then existence also we can check, right? Whether that checkbox actually exists on a web page or not. Checkbox. Then what else? Enabled status, whether it is enabled for performing any operation or not. Yeah. So these all actions you can perform on checkbox. Next is your button. Naresh, what action you can perform on button?
Click.
Click or submit, correct?
Click or submit, or if it is enabled or disabled.
Correct. Enabled or disabled. Enabled status. Existence, right? We can check existence. Yeah. Then we can get the name of the button. Right.
Yes.
We have something called radio button. Now what we can do on radio button?
Select enabled status existence if it is selected or not selected.
Correct.
Return the radio button name.
Return the radio button name, right? Yeah. So these are all common actually. Since these are buttons, you can click, you can check enabled status, existence, return button name, etc. Now next is your drop down box. What action you can perform on drop down? Satara,
Multi-select.
multi-select, yeah. Multi-select how can you do multi-select in drop down?
Oh, right. I thought of multi-select drop down.
Oh, combo box, that's a
No,
combo box, list box or
combo
combo box, yeah.
Yeah.
So drop down can select only one value at a time.
Hmm.
So you can just select
Select, yeah.
an item. Then existence also you can check, right?